Welcome to the weekend. And we need something to look forward to, so we are going to do a raffle. So I'm going to put a quick video together here with a basic chocolate chip cookie recipe with my little spin on it, just because over the years my kids have told me, how come your cookies are so good? And a lot of people end up with like flat chocolate chip cookies. So I'm going to show you how I do mine and how they are nice and a little more fluffy and chewy. Okay, and if you like them that way, you're going to love this recipe. So first off, quickly, we have our 2 sticks of butter, and I'm going to soften them in the microwave. Okay, what I do with the butter, just to see if it's soft enough without getting melty, is I just put it in a little bit until it can push down a little, but it won't kind of turn into soup. The Toll House packages of chocolate chunks and chocolate chips, on the back they have a recipe, but this one's just got one slight change to it, and I think that is part of what makes the difference. So without further ado, I'm going to point out that I have chopped chocolate because Corona, and I don't have any Toll House chips in the freezer as I usually do. And I used to find these chocolate chunks, which I did some research on. Actually, they are available to buy online, so I'm probably going to buy them because I like working with the chunks versus the chips whenever possible, whenever I can get them. So good news, I had these big giant chocolate chunks in the freezer from Jonathan bringing it back from Hershey or something at some point. So I took the chunks and I chopped them myself and made my own chocolate chunks. I did this ahead of time. I sacrificed a finger in the process, so I suggest if you do this, number one, let the chocolate defrost. Don't try and cut frozen chocolate. And number two, use a very sharp knife, although there's hazards to that. But use a very sharp knife because it does seem to cut easier. Remember, this is the measuring kitchen, which means we kind of measure, but we don't get crazy with it. And I have my ingredients here in my Tupperware. Maybe Tupperware will sponsor an episode. So I like light brown sugar, as I mentioned before, and it does take 3/4 cup of light brown sugar. Then we do 3/4 on the white sugar. 1, 2, 3. And we'll give a little creaming stir to the butter and sugar first, like so. So there's no crumblies left. It's just a nice basic cream. We add a little vanilla. Shout out to Penzies. Again, no measuring, just meh. We take 1 egg. Here's the big difference. The back of the package suggests 2 eggs, and I have always used 1 egg. Now, I don't know if I've made a mistake, and that's how it started, but that's how I wrote the recipe down in my recipe book, and I've always used 1 egg, and I think that might be the secret to why my cookies are a little softer. I don't know. I think more egg tends to make a harder, crunchier cookie. If you like that, maybe go for the 2nd egg. But I think that maybe this missing egg is the secret to my cookies. All right, I know you're supposed to crack it in a separate bowl, but the heck with that, I'm gonna just crack it right in here. All right, so now we've got our egg mixture and our butter mixture. Okay, so most recipes tell you to do a 2nd bowl with the dry ingredients, and you're welcome to do that. I find I have like a secret to washing an extra bowl, which I will share with you now. Okay. I take the flour, because all that's left to add really now is flour and baking soda. Not baking powder, baking soda. And I took this out and I left the baking powder in there because I do have dyslexia, as we noticed from yesterday's video. So sometimes I don't want to make the mistake of putting the wrong one in. And for cookies, you want baking soda. And for cakes in general, you want baking powder. Okay, even though I'm not exact with the measuring, I do like to use a 1-cupper just to have a scoop, basically. So what I do is I scoop my 2 cups of flour into the bowl like so. And this recipe I think does call for 2 1/4, so there will be more flour added, but I always say start with less, you can always add more. So I take the 2 cups and I don't stir it. I then take the baking soda. Baking soda doesn't shake as easily, so I'm going to use a spoon for this. But I take the baking soda and I sprinkle it on top. You know, I do my rough amount. It's like supposed to be a teaspoon. So I sprinkle that on there. So you see, the dry ingredients are laying right there on top, but they're not mixed. So now I actually start the mixing by taking my spoon and starting on the top. So I'm swirling the top first and getting it sort of mixed, and then I go into the wet ingredients. So this way I don't have to mess up another bowl, mix up the dry ingredients, anything like that. I just do all the mixing in one bowl. Genius. I don't know if that qualifies as genius, but it works for me. The other thing is the Toll House package calls for salt, and I do not use salt because I always have salted butter in the house. And so to add salt when you already have salted butter, I think is excessive. And I also think that these recipes, most of them I think came from years and years ago where I don't think butter was salted as commonly as it is now. So that being said, I think that most cases when you're using salted butter, you should leave out the salt. Okay, I'm going to add a bit more flour. Now I'll just take my smaller cup and shake a little flour in here. And I do it a little at a time until I feel like it's getting dry enough to not have the cookies spread and be super flat. This is what it looks like so far. All right, so it's dryish. Let's get a good feel of it. You know what? It feels pretty good already. So if you like a fatter cookie and a softer cookie, the key here is to have the batter be a little bit drier. I'm going to add just a tad more because the worst case scenario is they stay too fluffy. And to me, that's not a negative. All right, that's that. Now our last step is to take our chocolate chunks and slide them right into the bowl. Let's do that. This is the knife I use to cut it, by the way. Serious. That is one serious knife. It's very sharp. Okay, cookie dough. Oh my goodness, what else is new? Dropping stuff on the floor. All right, so you can see I have a pretty good ratio in there. So now here's when you can have some fun with the dropping. You can kind of go through. I would set them a little bit apart from each other, and you definitely want to have a generous amount of chips in each cookie. Can't have too many chips in the cookies. I have spread these out a bit more to allow more space in between, and we'll put this first batch in and we'll see how we go. I like to set a timer for 8 minutes mainly so that I don't forget, because my brain, you know, I'll put the music on, I have a little dance party in the kitchen, and then I forget to check the cookies and take them out. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna pop the first tray out because I feel like they're very close to being ready. It's always best to undercook them a little bit if you want them to be soft. If you overcook them, they're just gonna be hard no matter what. So even if they're fat, they're gonna be hard. So anyway, I'm gonna pop the first batch out. And nice and ready, actually. I'm gonna keep these out. They're slightly browned without being too overcooked. Slightly underdone is better to keep the soft, chewy cookie versus a crispy cookie. And so I'm going to leave these out, and you can see they definitely have some height. This is a pretty good batch right here. I'm happy, I'm pleased. Okay, rules of the raffle. You need to comment on the video with 3 words or more. Why can't I speak? 3 words or more. And then if you tag someone that I'm not following and who is not following me, it has to be a new person. If you tag that person, I will enter you. For each person you tag, you'll get another entry into the raffle. So you have more of a chance to win. And then lastly, if you share the video to your story or your feed and you DM me and let me know that you shared it, or so I don't miss it, I will also put another entry for you into the raffle. So lots of luck. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday night live on Instagram. I'll do another live drawing. And I will stop talking with the mitts now. Have a great afternoon. And we'll see you Sunday night live. Bye. Maybe I'll bring my buddies with me. Baby shark do 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 do. Baby shark do 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 do. Baby shark do 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 do. Baby shark.